Welcome in to Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thank you so much for being here. Jaguars and Jets. Week 16 football. The Jags are 6-8, winners of 3 of their last 4 contests. The Jets 7-7 after 3 straight defeats. These are 2 teams fighting for their playoff lives. This is really what December football is all about, y'all. Playing meaningful games late in the season, trying to get yourself into the playoffs. Again, that's what December football is all about. It has been far too long for Jaguars fans since they've been able to experience this type of football, this magnitude, this late in the season. It's been since 2017, unfortunately. But the Jags are back in control of their own destiny. Opportunity to punch a ticket to the playoffs, to win the AFC South, to host a home playoff game. But first, they've got to take down the Jets this weekend, or this Thursday, I should say, in the Meadowlands. We're going to preview all of it right here, right now. I'd like to remind you to follow me on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jag, or at Generation Jag. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also hit the notification bell so you do not miss a show on here. All right, so we're getting Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson 2.0 in this one. It was not pretty for the Jaguars in the first bout between these 2 former top picks, right? Trevor Lawrence, first overall in 2021. Zach Wilson, second overall in 2021. Talk about the New York Jets winning a couple games late down the stretch in 2020 to help give the Jaguars the number 1 overall pick in 2021. Gave the Jaguars Trevor Lawrence, which I think Jaguars fans should be forever thankful for. Frank Gore making big plays, Marcus May making big plays back in that 2020 season late down the stretch for the Jets to help the Jaguars get that number 1 overall pick. It was huge for the Jags. I mean, franchise changing, right? Franchise changing win, the Jets beating the Rams in 2020 for no reason, with a lame duck coaching staff. But hey, we'll take it here in Duval County, right? Again, Zach Wilson and the Jets, they did beat the Jaguars last year pretty handily. It was one of the sloppier games from a Jaguars defense we've seen in a while. We're going to see Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson go head-to-head once again. Obviously, they won't be on the field at the same time, but they will be going toe-to-toe in this one, trying to see who can put more points on the board. It'll be fun to see. Whenever you get a first overall pick and a second overall pick from the same draft class going up against each other, it's a big deal. I'm excited to see it. Mike White, who is the Jets' current starting quarterback, I guess you would say, after Zach Wilson was benched, he's not been cleared for contact. He's suffered some rib fractures a couple weeks back, not cleared for contact yet. He is practicing, but he will not play. So it is going to be the Zach Wilson show. Zach Wilson versus Trevor Lawrence 2.0. You've also got James Robinson on the New York Jets. It's been easy to forget about that trade since it happened. You know, the Jags have been playing some of their best football for a lot of that time. The Jets, not so much. James Robinson not getting a ton of run in the Jets' backfield right now. They brought him in after they lost Breece Hall for the season. Traded the Jaguars a conditional 6th-round pick. It's a 5th if James Robinson hits 600 total or 600 rushing yards this year. I think he's only at 425. It's not looking good. He has not been getting a lot of touches. And so James Robinson, unfortunately, finds himself in another frustrating situation where he's not really being featured in an offense. And that's the whole reason I think that he wanted to get out of Jacksonville in the first place. So we'll see. Maybe the Jets decide to use James a little bit more in this one. I doubt it. It has not been the case lately. Jets head coach Robert Saleh, former Jaguars linebackers coach under Gus Bradley, then went out to San Francisco and became their defensive coordinator. Now the head coach of the New York Jets in his 2nd year. Really well-respected coach around the league, and I like his attitude as well. Brant Boyer, Jets special teams coordinator. He was a Jaguars draft pick back in 1995, first draft class for the Jaguars. He spent a few years in Jacksonville, played some ball for these Jaguars in the early years, was part of some of those special teams in the 90s. Mike LaFleur, Jets OC, is obviously the brother of Matt, the Green Bay Packers head coach, come from the same Shanahan-McVay coaching tree, and I think Matt LaFleur brings a lot of quality concepts to the Jets offense. Ron Middleton, like the connections continue here. He's the Jets tight ends coach. He spent 8 years in Jax as the tight ends coach from 2013 to 2020. Leon Washington, Duval native. He's the Jets running back coach. FSU alum. Spent a lot of time in the NFL as a running back. It'll be interesting to see him back on the sideline against the Jaguars here. Did spend 2016 part of the diversity grouping of coaches on the Jaguars coaching staff in 2016, part of that fellowship program. And then a lot of folks will recognize former Gator Marquand Manuel. He's the Jets safeties coach. And, of course, Miles Austin doesn't have a connection to the Jaguars, really, but a guy who spent a lot of time in the league is a really, really high-quality receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. He is the Jets receivers coach. A lot of interesting names on the coaching staff. A lot of interesting storylines between these two teams. Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, James Robinson playing his former team, all these coaches that have connections to the Jaguars. Plenty of fun stuff on that front. And again, these are two teams both fighting for their playoff lives. Doesn't get any better than this in late December. And it's going to be on prime time for the entire country to see. So when we're talking about the Jaguars offense and the Jets defense going head-to-head against each other, I think the biggest question is, will Quinnen Williams play? Did not play last week. He is going to be a game-time decision. Straight up. He will be a game-time decision for the Jets in this one. He's been dealing with a calf injury, something that Foley Fatukasi dealt with earlier in the year for the Jaguars. But will Quinnen Williams play? This guy is an absolute game wrecker on the interior for the New York Jets. I don't think there are two defensive tackles playing better football than Quinnen Williams right now. He's playing at that high of a level when healthy. An absolute just freak show in the middle with his quickness, athleticism, and overall power as well. Just really, really difficult for interior offensive linemen to deal with. Will he play? Will he be healthy? We'll see. When he is on the field and when he is at his best, playing his best football, this is an incredibly dangerous pass rush. Without him, they lose some of their bite a little bit. They've still got some players up front, but Quinnen Williams is the star of the show when it comes to the Jets' defensive front. Obviously, they drafted Jermaine Johnson as well. They've got some other guys playing some decent football up there, but it's the Quinnen Williams show. And then with their linebackers, you've got incredible speed. I forgot to even mention already when I was talking about all the connections. Quincy Williams, former Jaguars linebacker. Jaguars drafted him a few years back, decided to move on from him pretty quickly. One man's trash is another man's treasure, and that has been the case with Quincy Williams. He has been fantastic, and he is the brother of Quinnen, of course. Linebacker for the Jets. He is fantastic. So fast, so explosive. Is able to get downhill, sideline to sideline, make so many plays. Saw some people in half out there on the football field. He's a big hitter. You see why the Jaguars valued him the way they did when they drafted him. But it is what it is. But they've got Quincy. They've got Quan Alexander, another one of the fastest linebackers in the league. C.J. Mosley in the middle. A really speedy, talented linebacking core for this New York Jets team. And then it's a really good secondary. You talk about Sauce Gardner, a rookie first-round pick. This has been maybe the best rookie in the entire class this year, Sauce Gardner, out of Cincinnati. Incredibly long, physical, aggressive cornerback who has been one of the best corners in the league, despite just being a rookie this year. Really impressive stuff from him. But they've also got DJ Reed playing good football opposite him. They've got Michael Carter, too, not to be confused with Michael Carter, who lines up in the running back field for them. But Michael Carter, too, is kind of like safety, nickelback player for them. And they've also got Jordan Whitehead, who he knows Mike Caldwell very well. They spent some time together in Tampa at safety. So this is a good group. A group that has talent all over the defense. Quinnen Williams, Jermaine Johnson, these linebackers we talked about, the secondary we just talked about, and they've got other guys up front as well that can get the job done. But I think that overall, talk about the Jaguars offense, they've been getting the job done against pretty much everyone they have faced of late, moving the football, scoring points outside of that Detroit game where the receivers just could not catch the football to save their life. And I think that one was more of an anomaly than anything else. But I just think when you look at the Jaguars offense versus Jets defense, will the Jets defense trade punches? I think they will. But Trevor has been just eviscerating every single type of defense he's faced of late. Coverage-wise, the Jets, they run a lot of quarters, top 5 in the league in terms of how much they run quarters, which is cover 4, zone concept, and then they run some man concepts as well, cover 1, man cover 2. They've been really dangerous in quarters, but Trevor has been lighting up, again, every single different type of defense that you can play hasn't really mattered against Trevor Lawrence lately. So I think the Jaguars offense should be able to score some points, but I think the Jets defense is a well-coached group. They have a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, a lot of length. And if Quinnen Williams plays, it makes them that much more dangerous. And so it's a test for this Jaguars offense. They have to be executing at a high level. You can't have missed assignments. You can't have a bunch of drops. You can't have miscommunications. If you have those things against the Jets defense, it's going to make it very difficult for you to win this football game. So gotta respect this group, no doubt about it. The Jaguars defense versus the Jets offense. Again, Zach Wilson is back there at quarterback this week. He's not been good from an operational standpoint at all. I mean, like when you talk about his dropbacks, the footwork, the mechanics, the base that he's throwing from, the way he's reading the field, he's just not seeing everything perfectly. So what you want to do with Zach Wilson, you want to keep him in the pocket. You want to keep him trying to operate from within structure, because when he gets off platform, when he gets outside of structure, that's where he can kill you with his God-given ability, his athleticism, his whip-like arm. He can throw it from all sorts of different arm angles. He can do a lot of things when he's just out there kind of freelancing. So you want to limit his ability to freelance, right? They did a good job last week on some play-action shots and some rollouts, designed rollouts, where you get him moving, you get some different things going on, and he has the ability to extend plays and make plays off platform, and that can kill you, and you saw it a few times last week. So I think if you contain him and within the pocket more often than not, you'll probably be fine. And he is a guy that will put the football in harm's way. Not afraid to make some risky decisions, maybe some ill-advised decisions. Throwing the football is Zach Wilson, so I think that's another key the Jaguars are going to have to be able to get their hands on the football defensively. I do really like some of the Jets pass catchers. Garrett Wilson, loved Garrett Wilson in the draft this year. Elijah Moore, same thing in the year before. Corey Davis can play. It's looking like he's trending towards being active in this one with the concussion protocol. And their tight ends, CJ Uzoma, Tyler Conklin, these guys can both play as well. I think it's a well-designed offense. Zonovan Knight, he's a nice young running back. Michael Carter's a good back as well. James Robinson's there as well. So I think that there's talent throughout this Jets roster. There really is. I will say I don't really love the way the Jets offensive line has been playing lately. They're a little banged up. But, yeah, I think the Jets have plenty of talent to make things difficult for you defensively. And to add to that, Poli Fatukasi, Trayvon Walker, they're both day-to-day for the Jaguars. Both have ankle injuries right now. Doug said that he's optimistic, but you're just not going to know until we get a little bit closer to game time whether or not Trayvon Walker and Poli Fatukasi will be able to play. And if they can't play, that will certainly be a negative impact where you're going to have to get more guys out there that are supposed to be more depth players playing more snaps in this one. So it's going to be a tough matchup. Again, the Jets are 7-7. They've lost 3 straight, but all 3 of those games have been to really high-quality opponents. They've all been close. So the Jets are not a team to overlook in this contest at all. Because this is a limited week, we're Going to go ahead and get into kind of my predictions for this game as well. Right now at the end of this preview, the Jaguars, they're looking to exact revenge for 2021. A lot of the players that are on this 2022 roster were there in New Jersey last year when the Jets smacked the Jaguars around quite a bit, to be honest with you. And I think they'll be out for revenge. I think that more importantly, they're just trying to keep winning football games one at a time to keep themselves in position to make the playoffs. They control their own destiny right now, do the Jaguars, but so do the Jets. And these are going to be two teams fighting for their lives in this one. You can't just, like the Cowboys, they had stuff to play for last week. They were trying to clinch their playoff spot. But the Cowboys also had the Eagles on the schedule after the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars will have the Jaguars will have the Jets' complete attention in this one. I don't know if that was the case last week with the Dallas Cowboys. So it's going to be a tough, scrappy, hard-fought football game. It's on prime time. This is where the stars shine brightest, in my opinion, and Trevor Lawrence is the biggest star in this game, without question. I look at Doug Peterson, Jaguars head coach, the way he's built this culture, the way he's built the offense, the way he calls plays. And Trevor Lawrence, I think that's one of the best head coach / play caller and quarterback combos in the entire league right now. They're hot. It's time, in my opinion, for the first 3-game winning streak of the Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence era. I think the Jaguars offense can move the ball fairly well against this Robert Saleh defense. I think they can move it fairly well against just about any defense in the league. And the Jets do have a good one. I think these two teams, as I said earlier, trade punches offensively and defensively. But overall, I think Doug and Trevor land a few more. They put some points on the board, and they do enough for the Jaguars to win this game. I think Zach Wilson, he makes some plays out of structure, but the Jags also are able to force a couple turnovers on the Jets offense. Zach Wilson's too loose with the football. And to be quite frank, it doesn't feel like the Jets team has buy-in when it comes to Zach Wilson. This is a team, a coaching staff, organization that loves what Mike White brings to them. They wish Mike White could be out there. They have Zach Wilson instead, and they're going to play their tails off, but I think they just feel a little bit more confident with Mike White out there. So I think the Jaguars are able to win this one. I think they're able to win it 25-20. Again, a fairly close game. Both teams have talent on both sides of the ball. Both teams are fighting for their playoff lives, and both teams are well coached. I just think the Jaguars are a little bit better coached, especially offensively, and I think they have the X factor in this game, which is the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, who's playing at an MVP level right now. So that's going to do it for me here today. Again, I have the Jaguars taking down the Jets in the Meadowlands in New Jersey by a final score of 25-20. I think it's going to be a fantastic Thursday night contest, another opportunity for Trevor Lawrence and these Jaguars to show the world what they're all about and try to get to 7-8 if they're able to win this contest. And the Titans, who could be without Ryan Tannehill this weekend, facing the Texans, who have been incredibly tough lately, taking the Cowboys and the Chiefs to the brink over the last couple weeks. If the Titans fall in that game and the Jaguars win this game, the two teams would both be tied at 7-8, and the Jaguars would have the tiebreaker. So the Jaguars would technically be in first place in the AFC South with a win this Thursday night against the Jets and a Titans loss to the Houston Texans. It's going to be a fun weekend for football, Duval. Can't wait to soak it all in. Hopefully you guys are fired up for it too, but that's going to do it again. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Let me know what you think about my predictions, what you think about my analysis of this game. You can also follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also hit the notification bell so you don't miss a show. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can become a channel member here on YouTube. We've got some cool perks. You can also check out genjag.com. Pick up some new Duval gear. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, Duval.